It's time for Come and Talk It with your host, Michael Cargill, brought to you by Texas Law Shield. Over the last decade, Michael has championed and supported the rights of law-abiding Texans to own and use firearms. He is the owner of Central Texas Gun Works, a veteran of the United States Army, and has achieved national exposure in such prestigious media outlets such as Forbes Magazine, Fox Business News, CNN Money, AOL, BBC World News, Huffington Post, and the New York Times. Cargill vigorously defends lawful gun ownership in this country without regard to party politics. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
Hearing from the second victim of an armed robbery that was caught on a live stream of a religious service yesterday in Brooklyn. Last night we spoke with the bishop, and now his wife is talking about the experience. As CBS 2's Lisa Rosner reports, police now say jewelry worth around $1 million was taken.
The moment Bishop Lamar Whitehead abruptly stopped his sermon Sunday.
All right.
Police say 3 men entered the second-floor church space on Remsen Avenue in Canarsie. The bishop dropped to the ground, and the church live stream shows one man with a gun on the bishop and another removing his jewelry. Off camera, his wife, Bishop Asia Whitehead, says a gun was also held to her 8-month-old Brooklyn, who was in her arms. She says that was happening while the suspect removed items, including her wedding ring and Episcopal jewelry.
As a mother, as a wife, and just myself personally in general, it's one of the most traumatic experiences that I've ever been involved in. My priority was to secure my children, not only to secure them physically, but to secure my babies emotionally, to secure them mentally.
She says their 14-year-old daughter, Heaven, was also there and says she's okay. Right after the heist, the live stream shows frazzled congregants trying to leave. Police sources say there were 25 parishioners. Police sources tell us there was no security at the time. Monday, the bishop said he will bring in a therapist for the congregation, and he's giving the NYPD $50,000 to go towards information leading to finding the suspects.
Let the Holy Spirit arrest them. Let the Holy Spirit, come on, do something in their mind that would prompt them to want to change their life.
Sunday, Bishop Whitehead told us he does not take a salary from the church, and he believes his family was targeted because of the publicity he received back in May when he showed up in a Fendi suit to help turn in the suspect wanted in the fatal subway shooting of 48-year-old Daniel Enriquez.
The media called me the bling bling bishop.
The NYPD says the suspects fled on foot and got into a white Mercedes-Benz. Fortunately, no one was injured. In Canarsie, Brooklyn, Lisa Rosner, CBS 2 News.
Good day, Austin, Texas, live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Let me tell you, the bling bling bishop, I think the Holy Spirit was collecting his tithes. The Holy Spirit said you should have $1 million worth of jewelry in church.
God's gonna get you for that.
I know. Let me tell you, I just don't get it. $1 million worth of jewelry.
That's a lot of jewelry.
$1 million. Jewelry. $1 million. Wow. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for him. Don't feel sorry for him.
I feel sorry for his
congregation. His congregation?
Yeah.
They know. They know. Like someone said, one of the producers said, that's definitely what do you call it? Tax write-off there. Right, so tax shelter. Boy, I tell you, we got a treat for you today. Yes, we're gonna show you some suppressors, some silencers. We have inside the studio. Let me tell you, we have a special guest. We have Maurice Federa. Good Lord, Maurice Federa. From Federa is the name of the company. Federa Suppressors, right?
Yes. Hi, Michael.
How you doing? And Maurice is going to tell us about his suppressors, his silencers, and he's right here in Texas, made in Texas. Remember that bill that was filed, made in Texas? Well, we got to wait and see what the outcome of the court case is going to be. But made in Texas, that's right. The Texas Capitol passed a bill where if a suppressor or silencer was made in Texas, stamped made in Texas on it, you should be able to own and possess that without going through the NFA process. Well, unfortunately, the ATF came back and said, that bill that the state of Texas passed, don't try it because the ATF says they will charge you with a felony. And some people tried that in Kansas. The state of Kansas did a similar thing. And unfortunately, the people that did it, the dealer, FFL dealer and also the customer were both convicted of felonies. So even though the state of Texas passed this bill, unfortunately, the ATF, the federal government, says that is something, suppressor silencers are something that's controlled by the federal government because some part, some piece of that crosses state lines. That's interstate commerce, and that's something that they control. So don't try it. Don't do it. Wait for the court case. Let's let them hash it out in court. This case has got to make it pretty much most likely all the way up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court's going to have to decide, what the deal is. So let's just wait for that. Don't do it. Go through the process. What you need to do is go ahead and buy your suppressor, your silencer, have it shipped to the gun store or buy it from the gun store. The gun store is going to hold on to that suppressor, that silencer, and then you're going to, do some paperwork. We have the silencer shop machine where you'll be able to, do all your paperwork, do your photo, your fingerprints, set up an account on the machine we have in the lobby of Central Texas Gun Works. You'll be able to pay your $200 tax stamp fee, and then we will help you with the, we're pretty much do the paperwork for you, and we do it e-forms nowadays, e-forms. Zach, we used to fill out the paper, and it was taking, it takes like 12, 14 months for people to get their suppressors approved. But now with the e-forms, some of them are coming back 90 days, maybe 120 days, but it's a lot shorter than the 14 months.
Yeah, I pretty much heard it was 9 or 10 months.
Yeah, it's a lot shorter now.
You're getting them quick.
Yeah, so we've done over 100. I want to say we've done like 130 e-forms, and so we already started getting some of those back already. We're racking them through. Let me tell you, it's crazy. So people getting their approval, and it gets emailed to you. It gets emailed to you from the federal government. A lot better than having your tax stamp sit in the USPS, in the Postal Service mail, where it doesn't show up sometimes. That actually happens too. It's like, where's my tax stamp? They say it was approved. Well, we didn't get it. But we have the owner of Fodera is inside the studio. We're going to show you some different suppressors. He's going to talk about his product, talk about how they started. We're also going to go around we got some news for you. We're going to talk about some things going on around the country, going around the world. This bling bling bishop, let me tell you, God's going to get you for that, for sure. You reap what you sow, as they say. And you definitely, God's got to get his share. You got to pay your tithes, because eventually God's going to come and get it from you. And eventually they came and got it from this bishop. We come back from the break. We're going to talk to you about, we got some news to talk about. We're going to show you some suppressors. Got, like I say, a treat for you. Boy, you got to check out these suppressors. They are awesome. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Peace, this is Maj Toure. You're listening to Come and Talk It Radio with Michael Cargill.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
On this day is when George Jetson was born. That's right, July 31st, 2022, according to one of our listeners there. George Jetson starts now. So like you said, I guess we're going to start seeing flying vehicles now, right? I guess Elon Musk should step in, give us a flying vehicle. All right, let's talk about suppressors. Let's talk about silencers. All right, so, man, we have inside the studio Maurice Fodero with Fodero. He's going to talk to us about suppressors. Man, Maurice, welcome to Come and Talk It, sir.
Michael, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your company, your website.
Sure. So we started Fodera Armory a little over 2 years ago, and it was based on a gentleman that I met whose legacy basically is on these suppressors. He started doing these as a kid. He was an Olympic shooter. He's an 8th generation gunsmith and very capable machinist. And these have been put through their paces, and I'm basically rebranding.
Nice. Okay. And so, so you brought a couple of suppressors with you there.
Yes, Michael, I brought some samples. So we have 3 basic models, including a 22. So the Alamo is our 22 long rifle, also shoots 22.
Wait, so you guys are based in Texas?
We are indeed, and we like to take the name.
Nice. Based in Texas.
Yeah, we are made in Texas. We have a big factory in Longview, Texas, and then these are assembled in South Texas near Corpus.
Nice. Longview. All right. All right. So you say you brought a 22 with you?
Yeah, this 22 is about the size of a cigar. If you want to hold it up in front of that camera, you can show the people watching.
Nice. All right. So 22. All right. I can put that on my my pin gun maybe.
They are only for direct threads, right?
Yes. So we are caliber specific, and we are direct thread. That is just the best way to put something together without any malfunctions.
Would I have to get like an adapter or something like that if I want to do the pin gun?
Maybe have 28.
Okay. All right, gotcha. All right.
The next one is the Woodland. The Woodland is a 7 1/4 by 2-inch suppressor, which is very capable. We have all of the more popular calibers, but we do basically any caliber. We are, once again, caliber specific. The reason for that is all the different gases, the pressures that each cartridge would produce. We process that. All hearing safe. The Hill Country is our 9-inch can. It's 9.75 to be exact by 2. And then, of course, the big boy is our 12-inch can, 12 1/4, and that's the high plane. And we have that in 5/8 24, also 18 by 1. We can also rethread them 3/4 24 for those rear deals. Otherwise, everything is caliber specific, as I mentioned.
Nice. And so you can find the dealers that actually sell them on your website, right?
So, yes, sir. Currently, looking for dealers, and I have representation in multiple states. I have Washington, Michigan, Tennessee, Florida, obviously in Texas. I have my biggest distributors in Houston and several all around Texas, like Castroville and here in town in San Antonio.
So what's so different? What's so special about Federa? How do you guys stand apart from other suppressors?
So, in the 2.5 years that I've been involved with suppressors, I've had a schooling, if you will, from the person that actually designed and builds these. And that is that we have the girth, we have the volume and the space to process the gases and the cartridges appropriately. From Benny's standpoint, most of the suppressors, those are skinnier, the 1.5, 1.6, they are just not long enough to process. Just gases need volume. More volume, manage the heat better, and redirect the bullet.
Nice.
So I've seen some of these suppressors that fit, 18 different calibers. So they're basically the jack of all trade that's the master of none, right?
So interesting, and there's all kinds of studies, and there's more opinions than anything else. You can shoot the smaller projectile, obviously, in the bigger hole. That is a given, and you may suffer a little bit on the noise side, on the sound, but it may not necessarily be anything that you want to be concerned with. So if you wanted to shoot a 30 caliber 338 on down, or a 6.5 millimeter on down, you can certainly do that. They
So you
will.
could get the 338 suppressor and then just shoot everything below that in it?
Sure, absolutely.
Is there any sacrifice in accuracy or
There
any
will
other?
be a little bit and a little bit on the sound. Yeah, and the
Because
reason.
you custom make these suppressors for each caliber, and that gives you just phenomenal increased accuracy with your suppressors, right?
Correct, correct. So, our blast chamber will slow the initial gases down just enough for the bullet to leave in clean air. So our multiple chambers, depending on the caliber, and the length, obviously, will redirect and slow the gases down, and the projectile will leave in clean air, therefore stable, and um, your point of impact will also change, and the bullets will be basically on top of each other.
Wow.
Very accurate. Accuracy, now we also rest 100% of the flash, so no flash elimination, which is great for the night shooters. Recoil reduction is huge. Our 3.3 at Lapuas feels more like a 243. We've just made a can for a 375 Cheyenne Tactical, which is like a smaller version of a 50 caliber.
Mhm.
That was an amazing feat, but came out to be we had to build that out of carbon steel just because of the size of the round, and that can weighs 6 pounds,
Wow.
but it's amazing. Takes two people to carry the rifle and a can.
N-
Wow.
Now, what's the higher duty cycle? What does that mean?
So we actually, not all suppressors are fully auto rated, and ours are, from the 7 inch all the way up. So you can just shoot more rounds through faster,
Hmm.
and the can will take the heat. Because of the appropriate size. It's not that we don't get hot. We don't get hot as quick.
Mm.
And I mean, we could shoot. I've shot yesterday. I shot 20 rounds of 9 millimeter and was able to just take the can right off.
Oh wow. And then yeah, so maintenance free. What is that?
So because of the cans design and they do what they do, you don't need to take them apart and clean them. So if you use decent ammunition, you'll shoot to your heart's desire, and everything in it vaporizes. So there's no mess in the can. There's no unshot powder. There's no residue, and it doesn't build up on the carbon.
Hmm. And then Federo, how did you guys come up with that name?
It's a hyphen of my last name, which is FOD, and we used a PH. One of my business partners, who's also a former Marine, his last name is Phillips.
Ah,
So
okay.
we used a PH
So
from
the
him.
PH Odera. Gotcha. Nice. All right, and they're pretty big suppressors there, pretty big and bulky, and I guess that ties into the maintenance free part of it. So I don't have to take them apart, don't have to clean them.
Correct.
And the smaller suppressors, it sounds like they can't actually get the job done properly, right?
Absolutely, 100%. So they're all hearing safe. Again, the biggest thing that they do is accuracy, followed by the suppression, the flash elimination. Obviously, the sound suppression is huge. The fact that I'll give you one instance. Obviously, we deal with the general public, but we do have a special program with law enforcement and first responders. So we went on a demo, a dealer demo, and we took the cans out. And there's in San Antonio, there's a gun manufacturer that's pretty common. And this individual is friends with the person whose property we shot on. He had a 7.5-inch SBR 5.56, and he actually asked me, "Can I shoot your can on this rifle?" And I asked him. I said, "Yes, of course." And he was shocked because according to some suppressor manufacturers, you can't shoot. They won't warranty a can if you shoot a 5.56 shorter than 11.
That's a huge explosion that happens in those, huh?
It's literally brutal. If you've been next to one of those, the
Yeah.
percussion, but we tame the AR. We tame the AR.
And you were saying that the mid-size one, the Hill Country, is twice the sound suppression of the smaller Woodland?
Yes, sir. Half yet quieter.
And then the same thing with the large compared to the mid-size one, right?
Correct. On the 12-inch, that's basically a sniper-ish, if you will. That's something that you're going to put on a bipod or shoot from prone. And literally, the signature is displaced. The animal, I mean, if you're shooting paper, there's no worries. But if you're shooting pigs or if you're shooting anything at night, not only will you not have the heat signature is bad, no flash, but the signature is displaced. And literally, the animal doesn't know whether to run away from you or toward you. They don't know where the sound is originating.
Wow.
And so the
Impressive.
suppressor and silencers can abate noise levels by as much as 80%.
Correct, making it hearing safe. Hearing loss, unfortunately, is permanent.
Yeah, for people like me who have tinnitus, definitely plays a role in that. The Federa Armory is a Texas-based manufacturer of precision suppressors for precision rifles. Federa uses proprietary materials, and they incorporate the laws of math and physics to produce a suppressor that will serve you an entire lifetime. So you definitely got to check out these suppressors. Go to their website. It's Federa.com. It's PHODERA. That's PHODERA.com. Check out their website there, and you have your prices listed on there as well.
Yes.
Nice. All right. So nice selection of suppressors there. I need to try something out because we need to do. Maybe we can go back to the 5.56 223. Use a suppressor on it so it won't be as loud at the range instead of using the 22 for the rifle.
100%.
Yeah, that may work actually. I was just thinking about that as you guys were talking about it.
I'll make sure to transfer some to your store, Michael.
All right. So these suppressors are the result of a fifth-generation gunsmith commitment to bring into the market the best overall suppressors they could. They battle-tested these things, and they're proven over decades of use. The torture tested to meet the rigorous and brutal elements proven nearly indestructible. So definitely check out Federa. We come back from the break. We're going to talk about Federa a little bit more. We're going to show you all these different suppressors here. We're also going to talk about news around the country. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
This is Coley on Noir, and you're listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, "I invoke my right to remain silent," and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking suppressors today. We're talking with Fodera. We're taking a look at, their website. We're looking at the pricing. It's listed on the website. We're checking out this product. We're going to take these suckers to the range and we're going to do the old in, out, see what they're all about. Let our students check them out and all that good kind of stuff. Man, I like this. You give me some ideas here. I'm thinking we need to change the way we do business. Maybe the way we do our classes. Because we're in a new area now. We have a new range, totally brand new gun range. We're in a totally different area. We lost our old gun range. We haven't told this to a lot of people. So if you've been to the old place that we used to shoot, that property's been sold. And so they're now developing it, turning it into something totally different. That's right. I tell you, Austin's growing. It's growing fast. And so we got evicted from that spot. And so now our range is located a little further away. We're out in Cedar Creek now. And so we drive our students out there. We go shoot. Still out, still a private little area. Just us, no one else. We go out there, we shoot, and then that's it. Just only for private shooting, not for the public to use or anything like that. And so we're trying to be respectful to our neighbors because, like I said, Austin's still growing. And even though that's in Cedar Creek, it's growing. So we try to be respectful to them. And so maybe we need to try to be a little more quiet. Yeah, a little quieter. I think neighbors will like that. Maybe that'll help us with people that don't like guns as much as they're not loud. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it. And I think suppressors will solve that problem. What do you think, Zach?
100%.
Yeah. Man, I'm stuck on this bling bling pastor.
And Thomas is online. A quick question.
Go ahead.
He would like to know if you can articulate how many decibels this lowers the register from the gunshot. And I know you said it depends on the caliber.
Correct. And it depends on the environment. There's a lot of variables. I am currently in to get this scientifically done, so the dealer in Washington is actually doing a study on the decibels, but it's subjective. What hurts someone's ears doesn't hurt someone else's ears. And I know that's a little bit vague, but they are hearing safe per the hearing decibel meter, if you will. They're in the 110 to 16 range, and 134, I think, is where it starts getting detrimental or damaging. But it depends. There's so many variables. Again, it is the caliber.
Mm-hmm.
If you're shooting a 5.56 through a 5.56 can, that's going to be your best bet for everything. But if you shoot it through a 30, it'll be, again, 1, 2, or 3, 4 decibels louder. So that just depends on the individual. If you're out in the open, if you're in a sunny day, if you have trees. So if you're shooting supersonic ammunition, that'll have an effect, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they're all hearing safe to the shooter, but it's going to break the sound barrier, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
the supersonic ammo. So when you hear that whip, that's all part of the process.
Okay.
All right, when you say they're direct threaded, what does that mean for the end user, direct threaded?
So the end of your barrel is threaded. You don't have to buy a adapter for it. So you'll take off your thread protector or your muzzle brake, and you'll put on a can and just tighten it down by hand. So there's no special tools. And the design of these tools are to be left on the rifle. So if you have dedicated hunting rifle, just put that on there and leave it. That's great. We love the sporting rifles. They work really well with that. They're just not as quiet for all the reasons that you have an open breech and all those things, rather than a bolt action. That's going to be the quietest. So subsonic, direct thread, subsonic ammunition on a bolt rifle is the absolute quietest any weapon will be suppressed.
Yeah, I'm stuck on the names. I love the name. I love the Alamo. I love the Woodland, Hill Country, High Plain, and Super Texan.
That's
Man,
our 50 cal BMG.
Super Texan.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
We don't discriminate against calibers. We build any caliber.
And so the Alamo takes care of a 22 long rifle, 17 HMR, and 22 mag. The Woodland does this, the 7.25. It does a 222 to 300 Win Mag. Hill Country handles 222 to 338 Lapua, and High Plain it takes care of the 6.5 up to the 338 Lapua. Man, and so is there a difference in sound or between the Hill Country and High Plain? If I can do, I can do everything with the Hill Country. I can do with the High Plain. Why wouldn't I just go toward the Hill Country?
Well, the hill country is half the sound suppression of the high plane.
Okay. All right.
So you get twice the suppression when you step up each length.
Nice. Okay.
Correct. Thank you, Zach.
But you were saying earlier during the break that the high plane is a 12.25 inch.
Right.
You really need the right setup if you want to use that one, right?
Yeah, generally speaking, if you have a very thin barrel, like some of these hunting rifles, the old school thought is that if you have the longer barrel, you're going to get the higher speed, but that obviously depends on the rate of twist. But if you have a bull barrel or a thicker barrel, you could use any of the cans. Our Woodland, the 7-inch can, is really popular with the AR platforms, and it's really well balanced. Most of the weight on AR is on the back, so that actually helps with the muzzle rise. We do process a lot of the recoil, so we manage a lot of the recoil. No flash, again, for night shooting and hearing safe. I put a gentleman just this week on a 300 Win Mag 7-inch. Amazing how it cut the sound. You don't, for such a big cartridge, you didn't need hearing protection. He was amazed.
Wow.
And then you were saying something about accuracy earlier. Can you explain that one more time? So how does it help with accuracy?
So, little known fact, most people that do shoot and know the physics. So when a primer goes off and it ignites the powder in a cartridge, it creates these gases. That's what drives the projectile. As that's happening, the gases are much, much faster than the projectile. They're getting around it through the rifling and such. And so when the bullet leaves the barrel, often without anything on it, it's going to leave in the middle of the gas. With our suppressor, there's a blast chamber, first thing. We slow the gases down just a millisecond, giving the gases something to do, and the bullet actually flies ahead of that, stabilizing, leaving the barrel in clean air. Therefore, your point of impact is going to be much, much better, more accurate.
Now, how much testing did you have to do?
4 decades.
Really?
The R&D goes back to the 80s.
Wow. And you guys did this yourself?
Benny did, yes.
Wow.
I'm effectively rebranding. So our gunsmith, this is something that's been around for a long, long time. And we've just basically taken it over to help them promote. So these have been primarily sold and made for the European market, where silencers are not as taboo.
Right.
Much, yeah.
So in Europe, it's pretty much, it's like, hey, if you're going to have a firearm, you have to have a suppressor.
They're
Pretty much.
accessories, yes,
Yeah.
sir. And yeah,
And it's not like we treat them here. There, you can just go ahead and buy them. Versus here, we got to go through a long song and dance, and they're registered, with our federal government.
correct. As you
Wow.
mentioned earlier about the stamp. And ironically, in Europe and other places in the world, it's really, really difficult to get a handgun or a rifle to get a gun, but to get a suppressor, it's no big deal.
Yeah, and it's a shame that we have that stigma here around suppressors when they could, save your hearing.
Yeah, there's a function, and that is the hearing protection. Also, other people. I think it's good shooting etiquette, not just because I'm in the suppressor business. I always like it better when the weapons are suppressed and you don't have to wear anything to protect them. I think it's just more fun. We do make it more enjoyable. As I mentioned earlier, we really do tame, and there's only one way to look to find out for sure is put it at the end of your rifle and shoot it, which you will do soon, Michael. I promise you.
Don't forget about me.
Absolutely, Zach. You're on the list.
And for those that don't know, a silencer, also known as a sound suppressor, Suppressors or a sound moderator is a muzzle device that reduces the acoustic intensity of the muzzle report. The sound of a gunshot, pretty much, and the recoil when a gun actually fires or is discharged. And by modulating the speed and pressure of the propellant gas from the muzzle, and so that's what makes it a lot quieter. Man, we got to check some of these out, Zach.
Please.
Okay. All right. We'll check something out. We got to do a range day. I got some customers that want to shoot some machine guns and, some of their machine guns and SBRs and stuff like that.
Yeah, these are full auto rated.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we can discuss a 10% discount for your listeners that come out and visit.
And do you have a shop in Central Texas, or is it only going to be it's in Longview, right?
So that's our factory.
The factory's in Longview.
So I chose effectively to remain behind the scenes and
Sure.
just do dealers. So I don't have a brick and mortar.
Okay.
So I do everything through my dealers. And right now I have a dealer in Canyon Lake, in the San Antonio area, Castroville, just a little bit outside, and a couple of people that I'm working with. And of course, Central Texas Guns.
Mm-hmm. And so and so who in San Antonio?
In San Antonio, there's a couple of dealers that I'm working with.
Okay, nice. Who are they?
South Texas Guns is someone that I've talked to, and Mission Ridge.
Mission Ridge. Okay. All right. Awesome. Definitely check those suckers out. I'm telling you, and go online and take a look at them. Great product. Love it. Man, I really appreciate you coming on and tell us about it. And once again, you guys are you on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook?
How do we find you?
All of the above.
And it's just the one name.
Correct. And then, of course, Central Texas Gunworks. Definitely I'm going to send you some samples, and I'll meet with you and your listeners, and we'll work that out. And Zach, of course.
Yes. Zach's got to shoot these suckers. Zach's like, yeah, don't forget about me. I want to try them.
I do.
What rifle you want to put it on?
AR.
AR?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just AR? You don't
They're
get
so loud. They are just ridiculously loud,
Yeah.
It'd be nice to tame that a bit.
Got any handguns you want to deal with?
These don't work on handguns, right?
We don't make them for pistol unless it's the 22, and it does work real well. Yeah. The motto behind that is Benny does not want to do anything that isn't purposeful or accurate. And when you're dealing with pistols, handguns particularly, you need piston-driven. My understanding is some handguns that work with a silencer don't work without, or vice versa.
So Benny's a perfectionist.
Yes.
Sounds like he's very picky. He's like, no, I don't want to do it unless we do it right.
I like that, though.
He's passionate about his work. Definitely sounds passionate and serious about his work.
He said he made his first suppressor when he was 13 years old.
Correct. Yeah. What he wanted for his 13th birthday are the plans to Maxim's design. And that's when Benny started choosing the right metals. That's something else I didn't talk about. So the metals that we construct these are all similar metals, basically high-grade aluminum and stainless steel. They're not welded together. They are self-cleaning, so no maintenance is required, lifetime warranty. But Benny chose the proper materials to put this together, and then he figured out the correct volume. So he didn't want to necessarily make them 2 inches, but that's what's required. Mm-hmm. Benny could have done 2.5 inches, 2 inches, 1.5 inch, but at the end of the day, he found the right physics, the right mathematical equation, and they work. They work 100% of the time.
All right, when we come back from the break, we're going to go to New York City. An 18-year-old who had a toy gun in a car shot and killed by an off-duty corrections officer. And that officer has been charged and arrested with a murder, manslaughter, and criminal possession of a weapon. We come back from the break, and I'll talk about that and more. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Hi, this is Stephen Williford, the Barefoot Defender. I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated. It has escalated to the point where one of the participants has actually gotten out of their vehicle. We recommend that you stay in your vehicle at all times. Do not exit your vehicle, because the person who exits their vehicle is going to be looked at as the aggressor. If the other individual has exited their vehicle and they are not in contact with your vehicle and they do not have a weapon, then do not feel that you can display your weapon in an act of self-defense. People are allowed to just simply stand there and scream at you, scream whatever they want. Until they make a demonstrative effort to try to harm you, there is no immediate threat that would justify displaying or shooting or brandishing your firearm. Now, in the event that the person shows their own weapon, in particular a firearm, the existence of their weapon would give you reasonable belief that there was an immediate threat of harm that would justify an act of force or deadly force.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so let me go ahead and mention this one more time. This bling bling pastor out of New York here, man, Zach, you know that they had a $390,000 Cuban link chain that was stolen, a $200,000 men's gold chain, a $125,000 wedding ring, a $75,000 Rolex, a $75,000 Cavalier watch, a $50,000 wedding ring, a $25,000 Episcopal ruby and diamond ring, a $25,000 Episcopal diamond ring, a $25,000 pair of earrings, a $20,000 diamond emerald cross, a $20,000 Episcopal ring, a $15,000 Episcopal cross, and a $10,000 Episcopal gold cross.
Got a ring on every finger?
Good Lord. Man, and we're supposed to feel sorry for this guy. And he's crying. Now guess what? Guess what, Zach? He wants to carry a gun. Now he's pro-gun. Now he's pro-gun. He's like, bishops should have, pastors, church leaders should have special permission to where we can carry guns.
Oh, come on, man.
Wasn't he just in a studio somewhere?
Yes, he was in something. I don't know. He's crying on the air saying, we should be able to carry a gun in the pulpit. Yeah. Nah, I'm not buying it. Sorry. God's got to get his somehow. All right, let's talk about this 18-year-old. So apparently, there's an 18-year-old that was shot in a vehicle by an off-duty corrections officer because he had a toy gun. And so the officer, Dion Middleton, shot the victim, Raymond, in the face in the early hours of Thursday morning, according to the New York Times there. Middleton was arrested on charges of murder, manslaughter, and criminal possession of a weapon in connection with the shooting. according to law enforcement there. He pleaded not guilty and was released on bail. Middleton, who was hired as a correction officer in 2013, was suspended immediately after without pay, according to the Department of Corrections Commissioner out of New York. These very serious charges are in no way a reflection of the officers who work for that department, according to the authorities there on the ground. Police did not describe a motive, but said they found an obese gun in the vehicle, and there's no evidence that the young man had fired or aimed a toy gun at anybody, according to police. But unfortunately, he's now deceased. And so, man, New York. It's always something out of New York that's like really crazy. Always out of New York. I don't know why. Why is that? And then also, let's go to Houston, Texas. Man, Houston's always got something crazy going on in Houston also. I don't know what it is. I think it's the heat. It's like there was I think last week we talked about someone driving down the road and passing someone in the intersection, just randomly shooting at a random person with an AK. No, we're going to talk about that today, actually, because Shannon Watts chimed in on that case. You remember Shannon Watts?
Shannon Watts.
Yeah. Moms demand action. No? You know what I'm talking about now?
Probably forgot about her pretty quick.
Well, Texas grand jury declines to indict a man accused of killing a 9-year-old girl while shooting at an armed robber. Now, this is a very peculiar case here. All right, so a grand jury in Harris County, Texas, down there in Houston, on Tuesday declined to indict a man who allegedly killed a 9-year-old Arlene Alvarez while shooting at an armed robber in February. Now, check this out, Zach. So the killing happened on February the 14th at about 9:30 p.m. when Tony Earls and his wife drove to a drive-through ATM to deposit some cash and a check. According to the district attorney's office, a man then ran up and put a gun in the wife's face and demanded their money, car keys, and her wallet, according to the prosecutors. Now, the couple initially complied with the robber, handing over the check, cash, and wallet before the robber started to run away. The officer said Earls, who stepped out of the vehicle, said he heard gunshots and believed he was being shot at, so he shot at the robber. Now, however, it ended up striking a truck that happened to be driving by at the same time, killing a 9-year-old Arlene Alvarez in the back seat. And the district attorney's office said the girl's parents, Armando and Gwen Alvarez, said in February that the family was driving to a Houston restaurant for Valentine's Day dinner when Arlene was shot in the head. And they immediately stopped, pulled her out of the vehicle, and tried to administer first aid. The robbery suspect, who remains at large, will face felony murder charges in the killing, according to the district attorney there, Kim Ogg. And that's really weird because, in Texas, this is Texas, and that's down in Houston. Even though you're trying to, stop someone, it's legal for you. Let's make this clear. It is legal for you to use force or deadly force to recover your property that's been taken from you immediately after in fresh pursuit. So the person didn't have to be shooting back at him, so to say that means nothing really. But it's definitely justified for use force or deadly force if you're trying to recover some property immediately after in fresh pursuit. But even though you're doing that, even though you think someone's shooting at you, you still can't accidentally shoot an innocent person. So I'm very shocked at the grand jury that they didn't bring any charges against this person for accidentally shooting, this young child. I'm actually shocked by this.
Because you're responsible for every bullet that leaves your gun.
Absolutely, you're responsible for that. And so I understand that they're looking for the bad guy. Absolutely, but man, you need to know what your threat is and what's around that threat and everything. So I'm curious of who this person is and what's going on down there in Houston, because this makes no sense, to me at all. It's up to you. Don't pull that gun out unless you can stop that threat. If you can't do it, don't pull it out. Can't take that shot. Because one thing you cannot do, you cannot shoot an innocent person. You should be held responsible. And so I hope this family sues. I really do. I hope they sue because, man, that's a sad situation. They're on their way to Valentine's Day dinner on Valentine's Day. where they have a right to be, just driving from point A to point B, and a round goes in their vehicle as they're driving down the road and shoot and kill their little daughter. That's very sad situation. And it's very shame on the grand jury down there in Houston. You definitely didn't do your job. Very sad. Very sad. All right. So also, what else we got to talk about, Zach? I want to cover. Man, I lost my page there. There we go. Man, we got some Shannon Watts. Let's talk about Shannon Watts. Oh my goodness, Shannon Watts. All right, so Shannon, she's one of the leaders of Mom Demand Action, and she did this little tweet, early in the week, and she said, something to the effect that it's Greg Abbott's fault that someone used an AK-47 rifle to randomly shoot an innocent person. She said because they used the AK-47 rifle, and it's Greg Abbott's policy, a bill that he signed into legislation allowing constitutional carry. Unfortunately, she's very highly misguided, because rifles have been legal to open carry or conceal carry in Texas since 1869. So, unless I'm missing something here, I don't think Greg Abbott was alive in 1869, and he didn't have anything to do with rifles being legal in Texas in 1869. So that really has nothing to do with the current governor right now. So surveillance video is providing a better look at a shooting in a busy North Houston intersection that left 2 men dead. Witnesses believe the gunman used an AK-47. The Harris County deputy on his way to work discovered the scene. And the video shows a black pickup truck traveling south on Aldine Westfield when it gets bumped by another truck that is traveling the opposite way. And the black pickup truck turns onto Parker Road and passes a white car. Then the video shows the white car hit another car. And so police said that at that moment, the man in the bed of the black pickup, possibly a GMC truck, shot at the 2 people in the white car, killing them. And video from the scene shows bullet holes on the driver and passenger side of the white car. That sounds like a hit to me. That's too quick, and it was too quick, too targeted. And for someone to be in the bed of the truck with a rifle already, that seems like they were definitely targeted.
They were ready.
They were ready for him. Yeah, that's just too quick. So there's a little more to that story that they're not telling us for sure. Police said it appeared that the passenger got out and was shot and killed. Then the driver got out to check on the passenger and was also shot and killed. Investigators believe the gunman in the back of the pickup truck fired multiple shots from an AK-47 and bullet holes on both driver's side, passenger side of the white vehicle. And there's one witness who observed that what occurred. And that witness stated that there was a Hispanic male in the bed of the pickup truck with an AK-47. Initially, investigators believe the 2 different groups had an altercation right before the shooting, but the video showed that they came from different directions. We come back from the break, going to talk about more of this news. Want to show you some more. Going to show you some more of these suppressors here, and we're also going to talk about one other thing. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
He didn't act that way. He never flinched. He went for his pockets, and when he went for his pockets, I thought my heart was going to stop. I mean, Hi, my name's Jerry. The incident we're going to talk about took place in early March of 2017. It started back about 3 years ago. We had a fella in the neighborhood that nobody really knew. We weren't familiar with him, and he was pretty regular about speeding up and down the street. It escalated into more speeding, threats. He chunked some rocks up into the yard, and broke my windshield in my truck, and it escalated from that into death threats. And he was constantly chirping about how he was gonna end it, and he was gonna kill so and so. He was gonna kill me, and it was all chirping. The day of the confrontation, I was leaving the neighborhood and heading to a meeting downtown Fort Worth. It was a beautiful day. I had my windows down. I was in my Suburban. As I was heading out, just about to leave my neighborhood, this guy comes into the neighborhood, sees me coming out, pulls into my lane, causes me to stop, and then he kind of cut at an angle in front of me and jumped out of his truck and ran at the side of my Suburban, saying, "Today's the day you're gonna die, he's gonna end it." He comes over and he's slamming his hands up against the side of my vehicle, my truck. But he's screaming at me, telling me he's gonna kill me, he's gonna end it, this is the day I'm gonna die. He reaches in to try and open up my door. I grabbed my weapon, I put my weapon right at his chest at the window and told him to get back, told him to get the hell back. And he never did. He never moved, he never changed anything. He went for his pockets, shuffling into his pockets, and he pulls out his cell phone. I drove off around and called 911 before I got to the end of my street. Yeah, I've carried a weapon for pretty near 20 years, and I've never had to pull my weapon out. Now, I can tell you that when you do that, it's the emotions are incredible. You feel the flush come through your body because you just pulled a weapon on somebody, you're pointing a gun at somebody, and they don't move. And that's a whole nother, they didn't say, "Whoa, stop," like anybody that you'd think would do that, but he didn't act that way. He never flinched. He went for his pockets, and when he went for his pockets, I thought my heart was gonna stop. I was actually told that if he would have pulled out a gun, he'd have shot me before I could have actually pulled the trigger, and that's pretty awakening. I contacted Texas Law Shield and spoke with them and got a statement that I wrote, and I turned it in the following day. And it was subsequent to that I was told that I was gonna be arrested for deadly conduct, and Texas Law Shield stepped up to the plate, and they got in my corner and handled it from there.
Factually, the case was unique because Jerry never got out of his vehicle, but was still forced to pull his weapon and defend himself. And you don't see that often. Usually, a self-defense case, both people are outside the vehicle.
They ended up arresting me. Texas Law Shield got me out in a matter of a very few hours. They called me on a regular basis and stayed in touch with me and kept me up to speed on.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so the University of Texas and the Texas Politics Project are trying to say that Texans want safer gun control laws. So according to a poll that they conducted, it revealed that how Texans feel when it comes to gun reform. And numbers also showed the approval rating for a Texas senator who championed for safer gun laws is taking hits from both sides of the aisle. Guess who that is? According to St. Edward's University political science professor Brian Smith, he says that the UT Texas Politics poll shows Texans want gun control reform. He says 78% of voters supported expanding background checks from gun purchases, while 16% opposed. When asked about red flag laws, the numbers show 66% were in favor, while 24% were against. And I'm willing to bet that this poll was probably taken in Austin, Texas. Definitely wasn't taken in rural Texas at all. So definitely willing to bet that, especially coming from the University of Texas and especially talking about St. Edward's University. You're trying to persuade people and skew people in a different direction there. And they're talking about Senator John Cornyn because some people are praising him for what he did by passing a bipartisan gun control bill. But the poll reveals that since supporting the bill, 50% of participants disapprove of Senator John Cornyn's job. According to Nicole Golden, who's the executive director of Texas Gun Sense, says it's hard to correlate if the drop in his approval rating is associated with Cornyn's push for gun control legislation. Well, it is, because people are really upset. And you would know that if you take a look at the Texas GOP convention, when he was booed at the convention. A lot of noise. It was hard for him to make his speech. So the movers and the shakers in Texas who participate in the Texas GOP convention were very upset with Senator John Cornyn. And so we'll see if he's able to overcome this in the next few years, because there's a possibility he could actually become, head of the Senate. If the Republicans take over the Senate in this next, this midterm election. So if he's able to overcome this, maybe he can, move past this point, or he may just get primaried. But we'll see what happens. It all depends on Texans, if they have that short-term memory or long-term memory. So we'll see what happens there. Nicole Golden says she isn't worried because the need for safer gun laws outweighs his approval numbers. You would only say that if you're anti-gun and trying to take firearms away. But unfortunately, my ear is on the ground, and I'm listening to people that are pro Second Amendment, and they're very serious about this. Just like Miss Nicole Golden is pro anti-gun. Definitely, there are a lot of more Texans out there that are pro gun, and they do not want to give an inch. They don't want to. You give them an inch, then they'll take a mile. Because here we are. You gave them that inch, and now this next bill that's coming out of the House is asking for everything, including, the kitchen sink. So we're saying, nope, not at all. So, you can, when you listen to different stories, you can always tell, the direction that they're going, by that tone there. And they're definitely trying to sway people and make people think that Texans, want something when they really don't. Texans want, they love their firearm independence. We like our suppressors. We love our rifles. We love the AR rifle. We love the Armor Light rifle. I like to call it the American rifle. And so we're not going to give them away. I had a young lady in the store this week, Zach. Man, older black female. She came in. She said, I like my AR-15. She goes, Michael. I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, I'm getting up there, I'm 70 years old, in the 70s now. And she said, do you think they're going to take my AR-15 away from me? I said, no, ma'am, I don't think so. I think you're okay. She goes, good, because I'm not giving it up. She's 70 years. She's a 70-year-old black woman. She did not want to give up her AR-15.
Yeah, think about it. So I have a bunch of people that come through the class. We shoot the AR-15. We shoot pistols, and we shoot 12-gauge shotgun, where, most people would think that the 12-gauge shotgun is the best home defense weapon. For a woman like that, it's not, because 12-gauge has a huge recoil, okay? And that is probably too much for this woman. While it is a good weapon, an even better choice is the AR-15, which practically has no recoil. It's going to be a lighter gun and much easier for her to handle.
Yeah, and her tone was like, look, I like my AR-15, for home protection more so than I like anything else. And she's in her 70s, 70-year-old black female. I'm telling these people here that write these stories, that do these news stories, are so out of touch, and my customers, we have over 70,000 people on an email list, that have come through our doors. Our customers, I'm telling you right now, you're definitely out of touch with gun owners. For sure. And you're definitely out of touch with gun owners in Austin, let alone out of touch with gun owners in the state of Texas.
Do you remember that journalist that wrote that story, basically said, I shot an AR-15. It's horrifying, menacing, and very, very loud.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was like, you're a liar. Did you shoot a 12-gauge shotgun?
Well, this journalist, quote, journalist, just blew it so far out of proportion to show how scary the AR-15 was.
Right.
And then as a rebuttal to that, they had like a 10-year-old girl shoot it. And she says, oh, this shoots great.
I had a reporter come in this week who was running a story, a hit piece. And immediately I knew she was trying to do a hit piece because she said, one of the first things she said was, can I fill out the 4473 and go through the background check process like I'm going to buy a gun? I said, well, if you do that, you have to actually buy a gun, have intentions of buying a gun. We can't just run a background check on you. If I do that, then I'm committing a crime and then you're committing a crime. We can't do that. She goes, oh, okay. I was like, yeah, because she's trying to write a hit piece. And when you ask stuff like that, I can tell, the way they're going. the way their news story is gonna go. And then lo and behold, she does a story and she comes out and she says, "Bing, bing, breaking news. Some Texans want more gun legislation." It's like, no, that's not what I told you. That's not the question that you asked me. That's not the answer that I gave. It's funny to me, how they're trying to change the tone of America by running these stories and trying to change people's mind, of how they feel. And I'm telling you right now, Texans, we're not buying it at all. I talk to my customers all the time. That's one of the things they want to know. Hey, I saw on the news that they're trying to do this legislation here. Are they coming after? Are they going to take my gun? If they're coming after this particular gun, they're going to try to get the ARs. Am I going to turn my AR in? Am I going to have to register it? Are they going to take my AR pistol? People want to know. I'm like, no, not yet, but I'll pop smoke when it's time for you to go bury it in the backyard, though.
Or lose it in a boating accident.
That's right. I will pop smoke. I'll let you know. And that's why we have the bump stock lawsuit. That's why we're suing the federal government. Michael Cargill versus the Department of Justice. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, because it's about bump stocks. It's about AR pistols. It's about triggers. It's about all of that. It's about the fact that the federal government says something that you own that is legal. They change their mind one day and they say it's now illegal. So unfortunately, we as citizens have to make sure that we contact our elected official and make sure Congress don't create a law. We don't want Congress to create a law, because they create a law banning something, then we are dead in the water. As long as Congress don't do that, then we're good to go. And so we should be able to win this lawsuit that we have against the ATF and the Department of Justice and this current administration, and which this case should be heard in. It's going to be heard in New Orleans, in the New Orleans Fifth Circuit in September, I believe, on September the 13th, I believe. And so we're going to have our day in court again. They're going to rehear this case against the entire circuit in bunk. And so we should win this case, and we should hopefully make our way toward the Supreme Court in hopes that Supreme Court would pick this case up, which they should, because then we'll have different rulings of different appellate courts around the country. Because I'm sure, once the Fifth Circuit says, nope, you're fine, you can keep your bump stock, I'm sure they don't want Texas and Texas, Louisiana, that part of the country to be the only part of the country that have bump stocks and triggers and all that kind of stuff. So Supreme Court's going to have to decide, be the deciding factor in all that stuff. So we'll see what happens there. That's why the bump stock lawsuit is very important. It's about triggers. It's about an AR pistols. It's about bump stocks. About everything. It's about the federal government says that, what you own that's legal is now illegal. What are you going to say, Zach?
I'm just listening.
Oh.
Soaking it in.
Okay. All right. So we'll, and going back to Senator John Cornyn, we'll see what happens with that. I honestly think, Zach, I think that people are going to have short-term memory, and I think they're going to forget, the bill that Senator Cornyn passed. And I think he'll get reelected because people just don't pay attention.
We had 2 Republicans in the House that voted yes on this AR-15 ban.
Yeah. And so I just think people are just not paying attention.
And we had 12 in the Senate that helped pass this last bill. So who knows what's going to happen.
Got to hold their feet to the fire. Got to make sure that this next bill does not get past the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Got to hold the line. Got to hold the line. Got to stand up and fight. Contact your elected official right now, today, over and over again. Let them know we got to hold the line. Got to stop right here. We come back from the break. We got a couple more things to talk to you about. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Folks, this is Doug Man Jones. And I get my gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, we're going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, let's go to Washington, D.C. So the chief executives of two leading gun manufacturers said mass shootings are local problems that cannot be blamed on inanimate firearms when a House panel asked them on Wednesday whether they accept responsibility for selling the assault-style rifles used in most of the recent massacres. Now, the CEOs of Daniel Defense and Strom Ruger condemned the attacks in Buffalo, New York, Uvalde, and Highland Park, Illinois, while testifying before the House Oversight and Reform Committee. They said such mass murders need to stop, but balked when they were asked whether their companies would stop selling those rifles. I hate when they use that word assault-style rifle. I mean, what's that? Why don't you say that when someone uses a car to kill a bunch of people?
An assault vehicle?
Assault vehicle. Yeah, it just makes no sense to me. I believe that these murders are local problems and that have to be solved locally, according to Marty Daniel, who's the CEO of Daniel Defense, the company that made the rifle the Uvalde gunman used to kill 19 children and 2 teachers. In his opening remarks, Daniel said lawmakers should focus on the type of person likely to commit mass shootings, not the type of gun that person might use. And I agree with that because, he could have used his pickup truck. Maybe that was his goal. Maybe, he was waiting for kids to hit, be on recess and then drive, run them over as they're, out in the play area doing recess. That could have been his goal. Instead, he chose the firearm. And so asked by Representative Carolyn Maloney, the committee chair, whether he would accept personal responsibility for his company's role in that shooting, Daniel said the murderers are responsible before Maloney cut off the rest of his answer. And he's right. The murders are responsible for that. And also, I think it's also a parenting issue, for sure. My goodness, someone who's, 18, 19 years old, how do you not know you're raising a monster like that? Just a killer.
Once they're 18 or 19, then they're legally adults, right?
Yeah, you should, your monster that you raised, though. You know your dog's bad. We had this conversation. We did. We had this fight. You know, you raised that monster. So, man, just Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, Dane Defense took in, according to some stats that Congress received, Dane Defense took in more than 120 million in sales of AR style rifles last year, compared with 40 million in 2019. And the committee said Storm Ruger gross earnings nearly tripled in the same time frame, from 39 million to more than 103 million. Um, man, I know, man, Dane Defense is doing a lot better than Ruger. That's awesome. I'm actually surprised by that.
It's an expensive rifle.
It really, yeah, it's top of the line. You got to get a lot of money together to buy a Dane Defense. You know, you're talking, man, that he spent like what, almost 6,000, 7,000.
You're not going to make that flipping burgers.
No, not working not at Wendy's, not at McDonald's, not Burger King. Yeah, maybe turning tricks, but not flipping burgers.
And the Indiana mall shooter also had a Daniel Defense, I believe, or one that looked exactly like the Uvalde shooters.
And they're all talking to the same person online, were they not?
On Discord?
Discord, man. Something's going on there. A lot to think about. It's no secret why gun CEOs are so desperate to avoid taking responsibility for deaths caused by their product, according to what Maloney had to say there, in Congress. I don't know why you want to. Do we ever blame the vehicle manufacturers when someone ruins is like a 50 car, 80 car collision on the interstate, killing a bunch of people, like in the winter, this past winter?
Only if there's something faulty with the car where it didn't operate as it was supposed to.
But not
like a recall issue.
Yeah, but what? So why would we blame the vehicle though? Because a lot of people were injured, so we should blame the vehicle. No,
you think so?
Well, if we're going to be consistent, consistent with this theory, then we need to blame the vehicle and go after the manufacturers and the dealership. Let's go after the Chevy. Let's go after Ford. It only makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense. So we don't do that. So you blame the person. You blame the driver behind the wheel. You say, hey, driver behind the wheel, you were not paying attention. You're going to be at fault for this accident. You're at fault for doing whatever you did. That's what we do. And that's what we should do when it comes to shootings as well. It's the shooter that's responsible because the shooter pulled the trigger. Don't blame, the item or the tool that was actually used. All right. So, I want to go back to Federa, and I want to introduce you one more time to Federa. I want him to tell us about. I want you to tell us about the different products one more time. Your different suppressors that you actually have. Tell us about your website. Tell us the cost, of the suppressors as well, and can they buy them from your website and have them shipped to a dealer? Can they do a FFL transfer for them? Tell us a little bit one more time.
Thank you, Michael. So those are all great questions. Our pricing is basically in line with other suppressor manufacturers. So we have $355 is our Alamo, which is the 22 long rifle, 17 HMR, and 22 Magnum. So then we go to the Woodland, our 7-inch can, any caliber from a 222 all the way to a 300 Win Mag as listed. So direct thread, and all of our cans are H series Cerakoted for long lasting and ease of cleaning. Also, the 975 is our Hill Country can. That's 222 all the way to 300 Win Mag also, and most of these are threaded 5/8 to where the Woodland is half 28. But we also have other threading depending on your rifle. And then, of course, the Kingpin on here is the High Plane, and that is for long-range shooting, and that is their 12-inch can, which is from 6.5 millimeter all the way to 3.38 Lapua. Finally, our Super Texan, that's our 50 caliber, and it does work on the machine gun, the semi-auto as well. Most people don't have a machine gun, but and as far as buying it online, you can't buy it through our website, but we'll take requests. And as you said, we'll ship it to the appropriate FFL with an SOT. Obviously, they can buy it through you. I'll honor all those requests. And once again, I'll do a 10% discount for your listeners. And then we'll do a special day at the range, a dealer demo day, and I would love to bring some guns and suppressors out and have everyone shoot them.
All right. And so, and your website and social media, where can they find you?
So we're at fodera.com, PHODERA.com. We're on Facebook. We're on all the Twitter. We're on Instagram. And fodera.com is our website. You'll be able to leave messages. Our number's listed. We do not have a brick and mortar show. That's not the intent. My main focus is to get dealers involved and to get these things all over the country and in the hands of good, safe, responsible, safe shooters so that you can protect your hearing while enjoying your shooting experience.
And just keep in mind that Fodera is a Texas-based manufacturer, precision suppressors for precision rifles. Fodera uses proprietary materials that incorporate the laws of math and physics to produce a suppressor that will serve you an entire lifetime. Fodera suppressors are caliber specific, designed and built for optimum performance. And their suppressors are the result of a fifth-generation gunsmith commitment to bring to the market the best overall suppressor that they possibly could. They're battle-tested, proven over decades of use, torture-tested to meet the rigorous and brutal elements, proven nearly indestructible. And these tools have been in the market in Europe for the last 25 years, where suppressors are normal and hearing protection is mandatory. And their suppressors are currently in use all over the world and have been proudly manufactured in Texas the last decade. So what you will, experience with their suppressors are sound suppression, flash elimination, felt recoil reduction, signature elimination, much improved accuracy, higher duty cycle, and maintenance free. Maintenance free, because look, because you people do not clean your guns, so you definitely need something that's maintenance free. I'm telling you right now.
Dilly.
That's right. So in 30 plus years of sales, concentrating in European markets since early 1990. So definitely check out their website. Go to Fodera.com and check them out, and see what they're all about. Zach, like I always like to say, as always, more guns equals less crime. Go out there and buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.
Hey, this is AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News, and you're listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.